Well, marriage seems to be a crumbling institution. In the 1950s, 75% of the population was married. Today, you have a majority of people who are single, which is astonishing when you think about it, because it means that in a free country, people are choosing to be by themselves because they don't find marriage compelling. In places like Western Europe, it's far worse. Countries like Iceland have a 20% marriage population. France, Russia, these are all seeing the decline in marriage, significant decline, which is also leading to the significant decline of the population. They're experiencing negative population growth. If not for immigration, these are countries that might soon disappear, and they're actually worried about it. That's why in places like Russia, you have National Love Day, where you get a paid day to go home and make a baby, because marriage is losing its passion. And in an adrenaline-fueled 24-hour economy, I think people are going to make choices that give them excitement and give them adventure, and they don't feel that marriage is giving that to them. Now, coupled with that is something that we never expected, and that is the sexual famine that is to be discovered in marriage. Some statistics have the monogamous marriage at about 1 in 3 here in America. Even those who disagree say that it's about 1 in 5. Now think about that. You could be a couple in your 20s, married couple in your 20s, 30s, and every night you go to sleep together, sharing a bed, man and woman, no clothes on, and absolutely nothing happens. That's astonishing. And I think the ones who are really paying the price are the wives. I think in our culture, we suppress and deny a woman's true erotic nature. We seem to believe that men are the really sexual ones, and women kind of put up with sex in order to get romantic love. It's summed up in one of those humorous quotations where marriage is the price that men pay for sex, and sex is the price that women pay for marriage. There is no truth to this. There's no truth to the stereotype of the husband saying to his wife, "How about some sex tonight, honey?" And she turns back and says, "Not tonight, I have a headache." And yet the husband can have an axe lodged in his head and he's still ready to go. Precisely the opposite is true. Women are much more sexual than men. Men are uni-orgasmic, women are multi-orgasmic, women have a much more deeply erotic nature. Think about it. Women seem to have their emotions deeply connected with their sexuality, which makes it like rocket-fueled. And the suppression, the denial of a woman's erotic nature, of a woman's sensual nature, is something that is depressing the heck out of a lot of women, which is why we're suddenly discovering the emergence of this genre of best-selling books like 50 Shades of Grey. No one can explain why women in a liberated feminist age are reading a trilogy about a guy who takes a liberated college student and gets her to agree to be submissive to his dominance. In fact, Newsweek magazine did a cover story about this. And why are women reading this? And the only solution they came up with, which just shows you how shallow we are in our approach to the erotic mind, they said people are reading 50 Shades of Grey because women are so overscheduled today with a job at work and then the domestic chores at home, that they love the novel because they wanted to give up choice. They like the fact that Anastasia allows Christian Grey to make all her decisions for her in order to, so that she's less scheduled. So I said to myself, gosh, I'll sell more books by writing a book about a woman who has a phenomenal housekeeper, who does all her work for her. The reason why women are reading 50 Shades of Grey is that for many women, for many American wives, that book is about the only time they've witnessed raw lust incarnate. They're not seeing it in their marriages. Women today are loved, but they're not lusted after. They're appreciated, but they're not desired. They're complimented, but their husbands aren't ripping their clothes off. And we need to go back and understand why. How is it that 3-4 decades after the sexual revolution, we're having less sex than ever? Something went wrong, and we have to be courageous enough to understand it. Because without that, I think marriage is going to continue to decline. Because all marriage can provide right now, for most people, is stability, but it cannot provide electricity. Now, if we were an age that sought out stability, then marriage would be thriving. Marriage would be the place where you settle down. It's where you have the domesticated bliss of raising children. But if you live in a society where, on the contrary, 3 24-hour news channels are competing against each other for headlines, people have disposable income to go on exotic, exciting vacations, and all marriage can provide is security and stability, I'm not sure that people are going to continue to marry. At most, they're going to engage in serial monogamy. I love those words. Serial monogamy. They'll be in a relationship for as long as they think the emotions can sustain them. But they're going to reject the overarching institution that we call marriage, which solidifies the commitment. The commitment is going to be more emotional. It's going to be, why should we force ourselves to remain together after the passion is worn off? Maybe humans are not really made for a 50-year commitment. Maybe they are biologically programmed to have only an 8 or 10-year commitment. And we're hearing more and more scientists make that argument as well. By the way, it's an argument I completely reject, because I actually think people are intimacy seekers. I think what we most seek is someone to know our depths. And that's not going to come from a more casual relationship. But marriage is in crisis. I believe it's primarily because of the loss of erotic lust and erotic desire. And it's time that we began to fathom the erotic mind in order not just to bolster the institution of marriage, but actually bring back a certain electricity to the rest of life as well.